Give him your right hand, Nelly. Give him your right hand. Give him your right hand.
They're so sweet. I'm like their kanchi, right? I know Gojima don't try now. Gojima don't try now. I know Gojima don't try now. I know Gojima don't try now. Gojima don't try now. I know Gojima don't try now. So I worked really hard that year. It was really nice to meet people along the way. I even went to Nepal and did some training for 1 month from December till January 2018. And it was just amazing to see Nepal.
As I went through her profile, she mentioned that she is inspired to inspire. So this time it's our turn to inspire and get inspiration from Miss Nelly Attar. Yeah, please, the floor is yours.
Are we going to be presenting videos first?
Yeah.
Okay. So this was my summit photo. As you can see, sorry, can you go back to the picture? As you can see, it was really, really cold. One of the questions I guess asked on Everest, how cold was it? It was roughly minus 40. You can see my hair was frozen. And it actually took a few hours to defrost. It stayed frozen the whole day. Okay, we can begin with the video, please. So we spent a lot of time crossing crevasses like this. Going from Camp 2 to Camp 3.
Right in the middle of those crampons for you. There. Each one. Then again.
So what we're doing here is we're crossing a crevasse, which is a crack in the snow. So to get from one side to the other, this is what we have to go through. One drop could be very dangerous, as you can see.
Sorry, another just run that middle bit. There you go.
Would anyone like to try this?
Give him your right hand, Nelly. Give him your right hand. Give him your right hand.
Next video, please. This is the summit, 8,848 meters above sea level. The highest point on Earth. Thank you. It's okay. Yeah, it's fine. It's okay. So, in a brief, climbing Everest was one of the best experiences of my life. Like Saud was saying, it's very hard to be able to summarize everything in a few minutes. It's a very long journey that took a lot of years in training. So the first time I climbed the mountain was in 2007, and that changed my life. And then I started to think of Everest later along the years when I started to climb more and more and more. And in 2016 is when the dream of Everest really became a dream. And then in 2018, my friend and I decided, you know what? Next year we're going to go climb Everest. So we set the date, we put a deadline, and then we started to work backwards from there. I didn't know what it takes to climb Everest. Everest is the highest mountain in the world. It's very different to any other mountain. I didn't have resources here in Riyadh, and as a female, training outdoors was very challenging in a lot of ways. So the year was very, I would have to say, very insightful. I learned a lot of things along the way. And one of the biggest lessons I learned was never give up. If you have a dream and you believe in your dream, you can achieve it. Only you can achieve it if you believe enough. So I worked really hard that year. It was really nice to meet people along the way. I even went to Nepal and did some training for 1 month from December till January 2018. And it was just amazing to see Nepal, to be familiarized with their culture. The people are extremely hospitable. We ate so much dal bahat. And the experiences I'll never forget. They've shaped me to the person I am today. And we spent 2 months on Everest, 57 days to be exact. A lot of time on altitude. So imagine, barely showering, barely having comfortable sleep, barely having warmth. The one thing I missed on Everest was warmth. I always felt cold. But anyways, it's an experience of a lifetime, and yeah, I met Saud there. And we actually crossed paths on the summit. When I was going up on the summit, I saw Saud, and he was very cold, and I was very cold as well. And yeah, it was a great experience. If you guys have any questions about the climb, please let me know. I'll be here for another while. If you have any questions as well online, I'm on Instagram. You can find me online by email. I'm happy to help if anyone wants to climb. And I just have to say, this wouldn't have been possible without the Sherpas. The Sherpas are the people of the mountain. They live on the mountain. We're just visitors. And if it wasn't for their help and their guidance and their support, none of us can do it. So I really thank the Sherpas and the Nepalese community for welcoming all the foreigners that climb on Everest. And I really thank them for taking care of us and really putting our lives before their own lives. It's very rare to find people like this. Okay, any questions?
I just want to ask some question.
Yes, sure.
Who took you to be in this location? Nepal.
Who took me?
The chief who attacked?
Who encouraged me? Mountains. I think when I started to climb, I started to think, what's higher, what's bigger, what's scarier? And then Everest came to mind. And one of the first things, when I asked people about Mount Everest, I kept hearing the Nepalese people are extremely kind and hospitable. And they're going to be so supportive. You don't find this everywhere. I've climbed many mountains. I never found people like the Nepalese people. Really.
How many months in the mountain?
On Everest, 57 days.
57.
On the mountain itself.
What's the most difficult?
The most difficult, I would say, the summit day was not as physically challenging as I thought it would be, but it was very emotionally challenging. We saw a lot of dead bodies on the way. So to see a dead body and walk over it was the hardest thing that I had to do. And it made me think of everything, my family, my existence, why am I doing this, shall I turn back? So I really had to dig deep. I had to dig so deep to continue.
How much it cost?
Roughly $100,000. I mean, it depends on the company, but on Everest you don't want to go cheap. You want to make sure that you have enough oxygen supplies, enough supplies of everything. Insurance, of course. It's your life on the line. So, yeah. You had another question?
Yeah. Thank you very much, ma'am. You introduced so frankly, so goodly for Nepal, and I'm a Nepali, that's why I'm really thankful from my heart, and thank you very much for introducing with such a very good way to Nepal and Nepalese. My question is, you born in Saudi Arabia, you went in Nepal, you only climbed the Mount Everest, or you visited some of the other places of Nepal, and how do you feel? How was your experience?
So I climbed Mount Everest and I climbed Island Peak and Lubushe, another 2 mountains in Nepal. And I visited a bit of Kathmandu, we went to Tamil market. It was really nice. And everyone is so hospitable. It's really hard to describe, but when you walk through the streets of Kathmandu, although the life is so basic and simple, everyone seems to be so satisfied and content. It's a really nice vibe, and it's a very nice energy that you get from people there. So yeah, I did a bit of like tourism in Kathmandu, and yeah, I spent a lot of time in the Himalayas.
And how do you find Nepali?
Sorry?
How do you find Nepalis?
I find Nepalians amazing. They're so sweet. I'm like their kanchi, right? Kanchi? Yeah, no, Nepal is like my second home now, and I really miss it. I miss it so much.
Can you speak some of the words in Nepali?
I know Goji Madam China. Goji Madam China, Melu, Goji Madam China. It's a Nepalese song, and I know Kanchi only. Kanchi, which is sister.
And Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you very much. Thank you. Any other questions? Great. Thank you.
Did you suffer any snow bite?
Yes, I did.
On the way.
I got.
Secondly, that was there any injury or death of any of your companions?
I got frostbite on my face, actually. So I got a frostbite here, actually, this area, and it stayed for like 3 months, but now it's gone, thank God. And yes, we have a mutual companion, Saud and I. He was a guide. His name is Durba. Unfortunately, he died on Everest. He slipped and he died. It was very, very sad, yeah.
Well, thank you, Miss Nelly. Thank you so much for sharing your wonderful experience with us. I hope most of us are inspired now. Distinguished participants, we also